Thank you very much for coming. And thank you all of you for being here also. It is a pleasure for me to introduce you to Àlex Sanabras, and Xavier Jarque from Marlex. I will explain a little bit the trajectory. Àlex Sanabras holds a degree in International Business Economics from the Universitat Pompeu Fabra from Barcelona, and a Master's in Management Science from the ESSEC Business School in Paris. In addition, he studied at the Boston College Graduate School of Management and has an executive training in business administration and management at ESADE and ESE Business School in Barcelona. He has subsequently worked at the consulting firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers in Spain and Site.co, a company in Paris dedicated to talent management. Since 2019, almost 6 years ago, he is the CEO of Marlex, a human resources company that helps companies to develop by hiring professionals and talent management. Xavier Jarque is an engineer from the Universitat Politècnica de Barcelona and a master's degree from the Denmark Technical University, and he has an executive training in business administration and management at the Copenhagen Business School and at ESADE in Barcelona too. He has worked in Hewlett-Packard in Barcelona and Switzer and AP Moller Maersk in Denmark. Actually, for almost the last 3 years, he has been a corporate director of the business at Marlex. Thank you very much for being here. Moltes gràcies per dedicar-nos part del vostre temps. M'agrada dirigir-nos en la llengua que ens dirigim normalment. Estic segura que la vostra experiència pot ajudar molt els nostres alumnes. Aquí tenim molt de talent que segur que estaran interessats en els que ens explicareu. Gràcies.
Molt bé, gràcies.
Endavant.
Molt bé.
Moltes gràcies.
Gràcies, Dom. Thank you very much for coming. With Xavi, we are pleased to be here. And since we are very few, we would like it to be like a conversation so that you can ask us questions and so that we know what really interests you in the presentation. So our idea was to talk first about Marlex, the context of Marlex, how have we grown after 27 years in the HR market, and in the end we would like to talk to you about how do we see the labor market, the labor of professionals, and how do we see the companies, what are they looking for when they try to recruit candidates, if they are looking for soft skills, if they are looking for hard skills, and all this, so we can talk about it. So first I'd like to talk to you about what is Marlex. Marlex, we are a recruiting firm. Now we are 350 professionals divided in 3 main business lines. The first business line, which is the one that Xavi is director, is temporary work. So here we help companies to attract talent and recruit talent for 6 months, 1 year, 1 year and a half, and then once they have known this talent, they can recruit it, or if they don't need it, we keep on putting this talent in other companies. Okay. Then we have our second business line, which is the recruiting division. And here what we do is to recruit people directly for our customers. So here we try to help companies in their middle management staff or specialized positions that require several hard skills, and we do this work for them. And finally, our little business line, which is like a little boutique that we help especially managing directors or CEOs or the shareholders of companies to structure their governance, meaning their management team, or their management board. So we also help companies in this kind of executive positions. Okay, so the company started in Girona 27 years ago. My father is the founder of the company, and we started with a very ambitious objective at that moment. That was, okay, let's try to be the HR company, the company of recruitment leader in Girona province. That was our goal, which we saw it very difficult because we already had our competitors that were in the region for several years. No? But after, I would say, 10 years with very hard work, we succeeded in being the HR company leader in that region, with 9 different offices within the region of Girona. So we were in Girona, in Banyoles, in Olot, in Palafrugell, in Blanes, Santa Coloma, Figueras. So why so many little offices within a small region, which is Girona, that represents only the 10% of the economic growth in Catalonia? 9 different offices, no? So we did it because we understood that proximity was important, that knowing the territory was important in order to help companies with talent, because we understand this is a people business, and since it is people business, it's good to know people, and it's better to know people with proximity than if you are in another city doing it online. So that was the main objective and the first 10 years of Marlex. After this, we decided, okay, why don't we do the same that we did in Girona, but in Catalonia? And here Xavi can explain how was the second stage of our company.
Thank you, Àlex. Just to start with, I just wanted to say, I mean, for me, it's actually very, it's a big honor the opportunity to be here because she didn't mention, but I am actually from Reus. Here is where I grown and where I was born. So actually, I mean, it's a pleasure to exchange opinions and exchange knowledge around what we do. But obviously, we would like to know, and as Àlex mentioned at the beginning, what we expect today is that whenever you want, you can raise your hand and make sure that you ask whatever you have in your minds. Because what we know is to make sure that you get to know Marlex, but more than that, that you get to know a bit how can you get introduced to the market, can you make sure that you find the right projects for your right skills or your right deserves. No? So this said, basically the way we understood the expansion throughout Catalonia, it's very similar than the way we understood the expansion throughout Girona, right? And this is about making sure that you connect, first of all, with the people in the territory, and that's basically the talent, right? As Àlex mentioned at the beginning, we work in a people business, but actually the society, every company is a people business. Machines and artificial intelligence and all these things that will come up are very important and will change the producing processes, the service processes, but what will actually make the difference between one company and the other is not the machine. The machine will enable, but the difference is the person that actually works in a way, has some skills, soft and hard skills, etc., right? And the way we understand that you can get to know all these people is by being close to them, right? And that's why, so we started with 9 offices in Girona. Office means basically a place where companies and people can interact with Marlex. And we put on another 50 offices in Catalonia, right? So we went from down to from Tortosa up to Figueras, to the north to Lleida. So we basically closed the whole triangle, but putting 5, 6, 7 offices in each of the provinces in Catalonia, and in Barcelona area where the economic power, it's a lot bigger. We have around 25, right? So this is the way we understand, right? In Catalan we say, and I'm sorry for the ones that don't understand, but maybe I can try to introduce. We work in como una taca d'oli, no? It's like oil stain in a way, right? So we like to get bigger and bigger, but little and little, step by step, and making sure that we arrive to each and every region in depending or in the area where we work, right? And the only way to do that is actually finding the right people to achieve these projects, right? So in Girona, it was a lot easier because we were from Girona. So our people understood the Girona way of working, the Girona way of understanding the business, the Girona way of looking for the right talent. But when you go to Tortosa, for instance, it's a complete different scenario. When you go to Lleida, it's a complete different scenario. And we are talking about the same region, the same language, the same culture, even though it's a lot different, right? So for us, the challenge was how do we find the right people that carries on the project in Tarragona, the project in Lleida, the project in different areas in Barcelona, etc., so on and so on, right? So our main, let's say, our pain on the ass is how do we find the right people that carries on this project.
Well, so what Xavi explained was the first 25 years of Marlex. So we are now in the 27th year. So basically what we've done is try to build an important project in this region, which is Catalonia, and a project that really tries to understand the businesses that are in Catalonia and the talent that is in Catalonia, no? So that our job is to connect people with projects now. Then after these 25 years, my dad decided that he wanted to do other things than business. At that time, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, he was 55, so he's still very young. But he understands that life is not just about working, life is about other things too. So he wanted to dedicate time in social work, and we started Marlex Foundation in Girona, and we try to help students basically who do not have really good access to education, to try to help them in this access. So 3 years ago my dad told me, Alex, I know you are very young, but I want you to carry on this project. You've been working already 2-3 years in Marlex, and I'm sure you're going to do a great job. People here likes to work with you, so come on, let's try. No? My dad has always believed in young people, and that is one of the things we can talk maybe later, that experience is important, of course it is, but it's more important your attitude, the way that you try to handle the projects you are doing. No? So in the family transition, we said with my brother, that is also in Marlex with me, okay, what do we want of Marlex? What is the next stage of Marlex? The first stage was Girona, the second stage was Catalonia, and now that we think we have a good position in Catalonia, I said good position, but it's not enough because we still have a lot of work to do to be the leaders of this market. We said, okay, we would like to do another stage, no? And when you think about another market, you think about the Iberian Peninsula, no? But the Iberian Peninsula, it's very large. You know, Girona is very small, Catalonia it's relatively small, but the Iberian Peninsula is very large. So we said, how can we have a relevant project in the Iberian Peninsula, keeping the same philosophy of proximity and connecting really well business with talent? So we said, for us, the Iberian Peninsula is very large. What we will try to do is to be great in a part of this Iberian Peninsula, which is what we call the northeast part, no? Which is from Bilbao to Madrid and Madrid to Valencia. In this region of the Iberian Peninsula, we want to be the HR company better positioned and the leader of the market now. And it's a beautiful project because I think this kind of supplier for companies that really knows the territory is very good for them, even for multinational companies. Multinational companies in this region, they like to work with our multinational competitors, which it's Randstad, Adecco, Manpower, but a lot of them also like to work with a local company because we are very complemented. The multinational company can give you, for our multinational clients, some security and some knowledge about certain things, technology, for example, but also the local provider can give you other things that the multinational provider cannot give you.
And can I put an example to that? So 2 years ago, I guess some of you have seen that Amazon has built a huge technology center and logistics center in Figueras, right? It will employ more than 1,000 people in Figueras, which is, it will be the biggest plant or industrial plant in this area, right? And we had a meeting with their HR director in Iberia, and she was telling us, I don't like to work with the multinational companies because they don't understand the Figueras market, because they simply don't have the right talent, the right connection, the right network to actually be able to provide me with these 1,000 people I need to start with, right? I need to get to the director of the plant, and I also need to get to the first people that will move the boxes so that you all can get some book or can get some whatever you are buying right now on your phone, right? So this mix between being able to connect with these huge companies which are very well connected to the last technologies with like the best way of and more efficient way of working, etc., but also the need of actually being able to connect with the people, because this plant in Figueras, I'm sure that it has the best technology in the world. I have no doubt about that, right? But this won't make it work. This will simply put the right instruments to make it very efficient. But the people that will make the factor that will make it be a success, it will be the right people put it in the right place in this place in Figueras, right? And this is, for instance, where we can make a strong difference versus other competitors in the market, right? Just to provide an example.
No, exactly. So basically, for you to understand what we're trying to explain with Xavi here is that you see the value proposition of Marlex within the market. No? In order to sum up this history, so now we've grown to Madrid with 8 offices there. We've grown to the market of Aragon with 5 more offices there. We are in Zaragoza, in Teruel, in Calatayud, in Huesca, in Fraga, in Monzón. And the value proposition of that, when companies from Aragon sees a competitor that with 1 year they are in all these little cities, they are surprised, because normally a company starts in Zaragoza and works several years in Zaragoza. If they really believe in the Aragon market, maybe they put another office somewhere else, because Aragon is very large as well. And our value proposition is, we want to really attack the Aragon market, we want to be strong in it, so we believe that, and therefore we put 6 offices already in the first year in the Aragon market, which gives credibility to the market and helps us to have more sales and more confidence with our clients. No? So yeah, this is what we wanted to explain. So this project of expansion in Iberia, now we are in the first stage, that is northeast of the peninsula. Once we reach this, which maybe it's 10 years from now, we are going to think about what's the next stage, and maybe we'll say, okay, let's go to Andalusia, let's go to Galicia, let's go to Portugal, maybe, but now we are really focused on this part of the market. And before, in 2020, before this, the first thing that I try to do when my dad told me, okay, Alex, you are in charge, is to create a team, because I think great projects are done always thanks to the team, never thanks to the person. And what I try to do here is to look for talent. Xavier is an example around the world, because I found Xavier in Copenhagen. I found another guy that is leading the executive business line in Brussels. So I try to identify the best talent and to put it to work in this project. And this is what we do for clients. And it's very beautiful, because thanks to identifying Xavier, identifying other people, Marlex has been able to grow. And therefore, our clients have been able to grow. And therefore, our candidates have been able to grow. And we have given a lot of professional opportunities to people, which is very nice. And it's thanks to the talent we are capable of attracting and retaining, of course. No? So I think the creation of the management team for a company is a crucial thing to do and to think about when you are growing at the stages that Marlex was growing back then.
So before we go to the next slide, is there anyone with a question, something that you would like to ask about this part of the introduction?
Is the expansion in Aragon going well, or do you think that expanding that many places at the same time was a good decision?
It's a good question. The difficult thing about expanding a business, for me, it's the first stage, which is having the valency, how do you say valency? The courage to invest money and say, okay, I know I'm going to lose money for 2-3 years if I do this kind of investment, because it takes time. But everything that is important in business takes time. You cannot pretend to expand in a new market and say in 6 months I'll have profitability, because it's very difficult. For me, the difficult part is the courage to say, I want to be a good player in Aragon. I'm going to invest this money in these new offices. That implies hiring a lot of people and having the patience to look in the long term. So our project, when I try to think about these investments, I really, and that's true, I look for the next 25 years. I don't look for the next year. I look for the next 25, because we are trying to build something which wants to be relevant in the future. And in order for that to be possible, you need patience and you need long-term consistency. So to answer the question, now in Aragon we've been 1.5 years working, and we are happy because we have done good clients. We have people in Marlex in Aragon who is working well, who is building a great community there, even though we are losing money. But this we already knew, it's normal. What we have to do here is to see if the direction is going correctly. And the direction is going correctly. But you need patience, you need time, you need to create, in order to create good relationship with clients and with people that work in Marlex, and we want them to work for the next 10 years, you need time to build this kind of relationships and patience. And another thing that I didn't mention, but Marlex is a family-owned business. We don't have any investors putting money in the project. What we have done is try to all the benefits that we've been building these years. It's investment for the future. So this is what enables us to be 3 years in Aragon losing money, because we are strong financially. Because all what we are winning, we are reinvesting it in the business. No? So that's financially speaking a very important part to understand, that we don't have investors, but we are very prudent financially. I don't know if prudent is the word, but
cautious.
Cautious, yes.
You had another question?
Actually, I had a kind of general question about does your company offer workshops for HRs of large companies or maybe small companies. I'm particularly more interested in small companies for startups or special services for startups in this field of HR, or maybe it will be shown later.
So if we have a special value proposition for companies that are starting like startups.
Yes,
Something like that.
Good answer. The thing is that one of the good thing about our service is that every company is target, because even if you are a company with 4 people, at one point you will need the 5th person because you are growing, or at one point maybe one of the people in your team is leaving for another project and you need to hire a new person. No? So here, of course, in a B2B business you have different pricing because you have to take in consideration the context of the business. It's not like Coca-Cola that the price is always €1 or €2. I mean, it's the same for everyone. In the B2B business, the pricing it's not stable for every business. You have to take in consideration the context of every business, the potential of the business you can have within this company, and then the price has to be an agreement with the other company. No? So to answer your question, with small companies we usually have better pricing than for large companies, because the capacity to pay is different in different business. No?
Yeah, and maybe to add to what you were asking, right, or what he replied, what we don't do is HR kind of like assessment or anything like that. So we are a recruitment company. We focus on what we know how to do. Right? In our life, I think that currently and in the future, what will be important for companies is not to decide what they will do, is to decide what they won't do. Because sometimes you have the kind of like the market or the society is pushing you to do something, but it's important to decide what's important for you, what you will be expert on, what you will be focusing on, what you will try to do and be the best in the market, right? And for instance, in Marlex, we've decided that we want to be the best in recruitment. We don't be the best in, like, I don't know, like for instance, HR assessment, or we don't want to be the best in outsourcing or training. We don't want to do that. We focus on recruitment, all kinds of recruitments, from the temporary needs to the management team, right? But always on recruitment.
So just to better understand, so basically, yeah, if I am if I am a small company and I need a team of 10, 1,000 or whatever number of workers, then I go to you, and then you know supposedly the people in the territory. So that takes me to my other question. So for example, you know, here there are students, some of them are about to graduate. So on the other side, on the potential workers,
yes.
How do you work with them? What can they do to approach you, or
sure.
What can you do for them?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, as I said, right? So we are a recruitment company. Being a recruitment company doesn't mean to filter CVs. Being a recruitment company means assess both the people and the companies. So, for instance, here there is plenty of people coming from a master's, right? Or plenty of people coming from the degree, or about to finish the degree and the master's.
Just some people. I will not say plenty, but some people.
At least some people, right? So basically, what we do, so we have, depending on the profile, depending on the qualification. So we have different teams. So as we said, right? Temporary works, more recruitment and middle management, kind of like assessment, right? And there, what we have is some experts that basically they have an interview with the candidates and people looking for a project, and then we try to assess them, right? So for instance, if you are more willing to, so in the province of Tarragona, right? So if you are more willing to work in the like closer to the coast, right? So Tarragona, Salou, Cambrils, El Vendrell. There, maybe you need to focus on tourism, right? And you need to try to and then we can try to kind of assess the candidate, try to tell him, if you want to live in this area, these are the opportunities which are in the market. If, for instance, you want to work in Valls, right, which is another huge hub of companies, and honestly, I didn't know. Valls is full of very powerful companies, but there they focus on logistics. Why? Because someone started in Valls and then they built a good avenue or no, road or like huge road, and then more and more people that work in logistics or kind of like logistics and ish, they've implemented their business over there. So then we try to assess the candidates, telling, if you like this area, maybe you need to do a degree on logistics, or maybe you need to do a master's on logistics, or maybe you need to specialize on that, or maybe you could try to start in a kind of like a starting position in this company. But for instance, if you are in Reus or La Selva, or here we do more metal-related industries, we have a lot very powerful metal-related industries, or we have food-related industry, more agro-derivated industry, so that we try to assess the candidates, trying to explain them where they could fit with their skills and their profile, right? That's a bit the assessment we give to them. So, I mean, this is not what we came to do here today, but obviously if you guys are interested on knowing more about how you could enter to the market in the area or around Catalonia, at the end of the presentation, or maybe somehow we can give you our contact, and you can make sure you contact us, and we'll put you in contact with the right people that do the recruitment in the Tarragona area, so that they can assess you on potential opportunities, or on a bit how your profile fits with the needs of the market here and now in Tarragona.
But if I can ask you a more mundane question
Sure,
along those lines,
Sure.
You do that for free? I mean, when
For the candidates, yes.
Yeah? Okay, so the candidates go to you, they offer, I mean, their
So
CV and...
So
and you give
they
them-
contact us, and then if we are interested, if we feel that this candidate could fit with the market, which most of you will, I'm sure about it, then we interview them, and then we try to assess them on potential opportunities we have on our pipeline. If we don't have any, we tell them, Mira, look, right now we don't have any.
The recommendation always here is to, in our website, we have all the job offers that we have in Tarragona province, for example, so that you can see which kind of company, which kind of position.
Correct.
And usually the candidates come to Marlex saying, yes, I want to apply in these two positions, how can I do it? No? And there is a process there.
Yeah.
And which are the stages of this in this business? So, if I am a manager of a company, I would like to hire someone for a particular position.
Yeah.
I tell that to you, and then you start looking. You are outside of your record of your website, or you check what do you have that could fit with this kind of requirement of which is the again.
Yeah. Should I? Or?
As you want.
You can complement me. It depends, but to start with, I think that, and we have that a bit later on the presentation, but we believe on proactivity, because we think that you should be ready for what customers will ask you to do. Right? You should. It's like if you, some of you are professors here, right? So if you are a professor, you cannot get to the class and, okay, let's see what I'm going to explain today. You should prepare for it, right? So we prepare for it. We interview a lot of people. We try to understand how the talent in the market is moving, which are the skills which are more available, which are the skills which are more in need, etc., etc. So we have a good amount of CVs in our database.
So you try to forecast what the market is going to ask.
Well, more than forecast, we try to be proactive on knowing people. It's difficult to forecast what the market will ask, even though I can tell you, markets only ask one thing: compromise. That's all. That's all.
not the only thing, but the most important thing.
Well, you mean commitment?
Commitment.
No, compromise.
Yeah. That's right. Commitment. They ask for commitment. So when we find someone who is committed, actually, we make sure that we present these people to different companies right away, proactively as well, because we have good relationship and confidence with different companies and stakeholders in the area, and then we tell them, guys, we found someone which we are sure that you should hire in your company, because they will make a difference. They will make that your machines will work better, that your customers are more happy with you, that yeah.
Yes. So in order to answer, a good thing we do here is proactivity, but what's the consequence? The consequence is then when a client tells us, okay, Marlex, I need a marketing director for my company, or I need an engineer specialized in this industry. What the first thing we do here is to look our database, and within the people that we know in Marlex, is there anyone that fits in this position? And more, the answer is yes. Why? Because every month that you are doing work, you are meeting people, so that when the client asks you for some profile, there's a good probability that you have already seen or interviewed this profile. If not, what we try to do is look in the market. So we put a job offer in our website, in other work platforms, and especially in the middle management and very specialized position, what we do is LinkedIn. So we search, we do search directly to companies and try to contact people who are already working in a position, and try to sell them a new project in positive, because and there's a lot of people who change jobs because we have been able to explain a better project for them. Yeah. And this is also what we like, is that we help people grow in their professional lives, because there's people in Marlex that when they went out from school, they were 1 year in a company, another year in another company, another year in another company. After 3 years, we recruited them for one of our clients directly. So maybe they spent 5 years in a company, and at some point they don't like the company anymore, and they call us again, Marlex, I'm looking for a new job. If you have something related to my professional experience, let me know. No? So it's very beautiful to see that we have with some people help them to move from project to project in different stages of their lives.
So
a question. As a person who seeks through LinkedIn to find workers or laborers, what kind of information attracts your attention? I mean, if you want to advise someone to complete his or her LinkedIn, what can you tell to them? What kind of information is better to be mentioned in the LinkedIn in order to attract your attention?
In the CV or in an interview?
In the LinkedIn page.
In the
Before
LinkedIn.
you go to their CVs or their
Okay.
application.
So the CV has to be very well. It doesn't make the difference. What makes the difference is when you have the chance to talk with the company and you explain other things that are not visible in a CV. A CV is just a page, but it has to be very well. Why? Because it's the first thing that the company will, or a recruiting company like Marlex will see. So there you need to have all your professional experience very well detailed, shortly detailed. We don't want CVs of 3 pages, it's too much. We like CVs of 1 page, summary CV, but very well explained and concrete. No? So there, of course, the professional experience, the education, the languages you speak, your hobbies or your social, if you do any social work outside from your academic studies or your professional. It matters. It really matters.
It tells a lot about the person.
It tells a lot about the person.
Yeah, a lot. It matters a lot because so skills and soft skills nowadays are more important than ever. harder skills, some of them can be completed or added with machines, but softer skills, your ability to manage people, your ability to manage a problem, your ability to be in front of a customer, your ability of exposing ideas, this is crucial nowadays, right? And your hobbies talk a lot about that.
For example,
Sometimes.
there's a lot of companies that say, Marlex, we look for people that goes an extra mile, that doesn't just do what they are supposed to do, but try to think and do an extra mile. So if you, in a curriculum, you see a person that has not only done an academic career and their professional work, but has learned several languages, has done social work, has been involved in different community projects, you see that this person is going an extra mile. That doesn't just, no?
Oh, that is very dispersed. That might happen too, no?
No, but
Well, but then the dispersed people, then they don't reach to have an academic work or good professional experience because they are so dispersed that they don't finish the degree. But the ones that finish the degree, but also they've done other things, for us it's at least with the CV, a good CV. Then you have to check all that, of course, and you have to see the important part, which is when you get to know the person. But the CV, my recommendation is summary CV, very concrete. We don't like ambiguous words. So if you are explaining that you have been a salesperson during 3 years in a company, really explain well your objectives, what you achieved, who you were reporting, the dimension of the company you were working, because all of this is very important for the recruiter. But very summary. We don't like CVs of 4 pages, we like CVs of 1 page.
and can I give you another tip? So when you apply to a job, make sure you try to find the person who is doing the recruitment for this job and send him a note in LinkedIn. Hi, I'm interested on that, and ask something about it. I've been thinking about this, what do you think? Do you think my profile match the position? Do you think, whatever. This will ping this person, will be like, wow, she's really interested on it. And then not always, but I'm sure that will higher the chances of you getting an interview. And as Alex said, in the interview is where you will make the difference, is where she or he will see how do you explain yourself, how, I don't know, how do you connect with people, which are your abilities.
What's more important than the interview itself? If you had, in the process of trying to get a job, what is more important than the interview itself? If you had to answer.
This is a question for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a question. It's a question.
More important than the interview.
Than
Yeah.
the interview.
Arrive to the interview.
Every time you connect somehow, as your example, every time that you're in contact with that company, you provide information that is positive and tells something about you. So every time you contact them.
Of course, this is important. A little hint is of the entire process. What is the most important part when you are not in contact with the company?
But you are there physically or?
No, so you are preparing to I see this position, I really want to get this job. So of course when you are talking with the company, when you send your CV, how you write is important, but what's the most important part when you are not in touch with the client?
Preparing for it, no? Preparing for it.
Get to know
Get to
yourself.
know about
No, but really, if you have to keep one message out of this, is preparation is the key part of the recruitment process. Because the recruiter, after the first 5 minutes, he already knows if you are really interested about this company or not. If you know everything about it. And now we are lucky because we can know everything, nearly everything about the company, even without talking to them. And people who want to work in an important position in Marlex, if I interview them and they don't know, apart from the superficial stuff that is in the website, they don't know anything more, I don't hire them, because they have access to know more through their network, through plenty of things. And if they haven't done their research, it means that they are not really interested. It means that when they have a problem at work, they don't do everything possible to make sure it's solved. For me, the preparation is key. Is the most important part.
We are very bad on timing, so but anyway, we can go on questions, and then let's see whether we finish off or whatever. We have 2 questions. So.
May I ask you something about the recruitment process?
Sure.
So we have different steps during the recruitment process.
Yes.
How we can be prepared for these steps? Because they are, I don't know, first step is that we have an interview, and if we pass this step, there are some, let's say,
Assessments.
yeah, assessment or logical activities or writing. Also, it depends if you speak different languages. Also, you have some assessment depending on your languages.
Mm-hmm.
So, how we can prepare this part?
For me, the only thing you can really prepare in context of a position or a company is the context of that company or position. How you prepare your writing skills, you cannot do it in 2 weeks. So it's your background, no? How you prepare. So I don't know if I understood how do you prepare every step of the way? No?
May I ask something? So I think sometimes as Alex said, I mean, you cannot prepare for a language exam. You either speak English or you don't. That's it. You can do some grammar thing, but you won't make a huge difference with 2 weeks. What you can do is to prepare with the people you will get interviewed with, for instance, right? So many times when there is an interview process or a recruitment process, you do an interview with HR or recruitment agency. Right? So like with us or with an HR partner of the company. And there it's more about generical skills and soft skills most of the times, because this is what we know how to measure, right? So make sure that you prepare for this. So if it is a company where, I don't know, like for instance, it's more of a classical company rather than a very modern startup-ish company, dress up in the right way, for instance. If it is with HR, maybe they will have more time. So make sure you explain very well your background, why you did this change and this other, and why you went this way and this other. In the next step, most likely you will get interviewed with the hiring manager. Either, so if you've like passed the recruitment agency kind of like process, and then most of the times you directly interview with the recruitment manager, right? So he or she will be the expert of the company, right? So make sure that you are straight away, that you understand what you are applying for. If you apply, here we have a lot of people that, or at least as far as I understand, most of you studied business or economics, right? So make sure you know well what kind of economic problems they resolve in their department, that you try to understand their problems, etc., and that you go straight away on your answers, right? So that he or she can see that you are well capable of actually resolving their problems, right? So maybe what you can do is try to prepare your mindset in a way that you know with whom are you getting interviewed. It's not the same to have an interview with a recruitment agency than a hiring manager, for instance. So I don't know what. So.
Yeah, my message would be control what you can control, and forget about what you cannot control. For example, if they have an assessment with a logical test, this logical test is different for every company. So you cannot really prepare for that in 1 week. You either are good at solving logical problems or not. What you can control is the amount of knowledge you have about the context of the company, the context of the people who are interviewing you, the context of the position, who had this position before I did. What did they achieve? Maybe it's explained on LinkedIn. You can try to see the culture of the company. In LinkedIn, we have a lot of information. You can get to know the background of the management team or the middle management team, because you go to the LinkedIn profile and you see their education, their professional work experience. So you try to intuitively know what they are really interested on, and this is what you can control. If they do an English test, you cannot control what they are going to ask in the English test, no? But
Yeah.
so this would be my message, no? And try to understand well what the company is expecting in every stage of the process. So if the first thing you do after sending your CV, they do a phone call in 30 minutes, it means that they are really looking for if your experience fits the position, because they only have 30 minutes. So you have to know their expectations. So you cannot give answers of 10 minutes, because no. So try to know the expectations of every stage of the process so that you can deliver as well as possible.
Yeah. I mean, just so obviously, if you, for instance, prepare for a Big Four company or like McKinsey or something like that, there you need to prepare for the business case. But this is 1% of the other 99% of the company. So just
So maybe we find information, no, on internet.
Yeah, sure. You can find all this in internet.
Yeah, just a couple of technical questions, and then I rather disagree a little bit with you. Basically, so here at URB, we are the only university in Catalonia that we have a specific program to train our students in the process of transition into the labor market, and they have a very both at the undergrad and graduate level masters. They have a specific program designed in a way that differs a little bit from your words, and I just wanted to check whether we are just screwing up or maybe we have a different approach.
I mean, this is not science, so this is not like Newton's theory. So this is
but for instance,
so there are many different approaches to arrive to the right point. So that I completely agree.
So the basic idea that we try to sell to our students is that they have to get ready for that, specifically to this process of the interview. Actually, we're dealing with very young people. Some of them have worked, most of them have worked, but in the situation, summer jobs, usually the recruitment process is just you have to legs to hands, you look nice,
go ahead.
And but then when they have to decide whether you guys, for instance, picking up someone, there is a lot of competition. So they are really, I don't know if talented. I don't know exactly the talent concept really means, but they have good degrees. They speak languages, so on and so forth. So it's basically the impression you will, in a very short time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, wherever, to someone that just doesn't know you at all, and have to just decide whether you are better than the other one next to you. So our idea is that you have to get ready for this, because there is a specific strategy that you will be applying. You are trying to put that person not in the problem, but introducing some questions where you can figure out things that are very difficult to get to know, because you won't, if I'm not wrong, you won't be asking about your degree in business.
No.
So you have the diploma, so you know what you know, you've been tested, and you are proficient in that.
So for instance, what I would ask is, how would you apply everything you've learned in economics in the job you are applying for?
Okay.
Right. So that's why, for instance, Àlex was explaining, for us it's super important. You get to understand where you are going and where you are applying, right? And I completely agree with you that you should get ready for it. You should
and specifically because there are some certain level of questions that you most likely will be asked. Tell me your 3 best, this kind of thing. But if you have not thought about that before, at that moment where you are feeling nervous, it's quite understandable. And so that's one thing. So I didn't understand very well your answer in terms you have to get ready for it. Because here at your V, you're spending resources to train them to get ready specifically, not just for the process, but for the specific moment of the interview. Okay, so I don't know if you're wasting our time and
No,
money. And another question, and then there is this process of self-awareness. So you have to get to know yourself before getting into the process of looking for a job. Basically, because it's something that there are many different jobs, many different companies, so you have to fit in there. And then to fit in there, you have to know what you're looking for, who you are, in terms of, so I'm looking for a job where there's a lot of traveling involved, or not, because I'm looking for a job that I want to just work by myself. So these kind of things, the self-assessment in terms of skills, competences, what I'm looking for, my values, all this, because you haven't recommended to our students that, do you think that that's important? And finally, get to know a firm. It's not that easy as you are suggesting. Because the information in LinkedIn, you don't have the value, you have some sort of definition of values and so on. But actually the problem in the labor market is that information, it's asymmetric and it's very costly if there is any information at all in there. And then the process, so ask the students, we ask them, please check the webpage, see what you're doing. Don't get to the interview and say, well, can you remember what is the offer? But the level that you suggested, it's I don't know if that is possible. So to know who was in that position before you, how do you know that? Use this example specifically.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'll try to go quickly, no? Because the first part, I don't see why you disagree, because
I completely agree with.
Okay, because I didn't understand. Because we said preparation is the most important part. So what you are doing here at this university, for me, it's perfect, because our message is get prepared, because this is what you can control. The second part, self-assessment, totally agree. We didn't mention, but of course it's very important before applying in the work. Maybe there are 2 phases. First, get to know you, and then get to know the firm and the position. We talk about the second stage. The first stage is get to know you better, so that you know which type of company you want to know, which type of sector, which type of position, if it involves traveling, not. Totally agree. The thing I don't agree is the third part. Because for me, this is trying to reach excellence. We have to aspire to reach excellence. We will never have 10 out of 10, but we will have to work to try to have the 9.5 out of 10. Why do I say that? Because the easy part is to say there is no information. It's the easy part, because it's true, it's difficult to get the information, but you can do it most of the time. Maybe not always, but most of the times. How? Connecting with people. Maybe in LinkedIn you have asymmetric information, you have part of the information, but you can get in contact with, if you're trying to get in a position in a company that employs 200 people, you can try to have a coffee with one of the 200 employees. You can try at least. And with a conversation you get to know the company culture and not just the superficial thing that there is in the website. And this is reaching excellence. This is thinking out of the scope. This is going the extra mile. And when we see a candidate that have gone extra mile to talk with 3 different people within the company, so that he understands who had the position before and why they left, and everything. Maybe you can find it. I'm not saying it's easy, of course it's not, but this is part of what makes the difference. Maybe we disagree, I don't know why, but I think we have a lot of opportunities in our society to get to know information about the company that is not online. Online you can have part of the information, but offline you can try to have more information. Not 100% information, but more information that the other candidates you are competing with. Because in a position you have 20 candidates, maybe 19 have just seen the website and LinkedIn, and maybe one out of the 20 have tried to connect with people within the company and try to speak with them, so that they can have more information. And this will probably make the difference. Probably not, probably yes.
Yeah. We are out of time, right?
No, we are almost out of time, so thank you for the comments. But maybe if you want to continue, you have some projects that you want to explain, we still have time. But,
no, for me the most important part was to
open a debate. So I think it's okay. So
you told me
there was one question.
There were another question,
here.
right? Go ahead.
Yeah, you've been talking about from the perspective of candidates that changing a job is an opportunity, but obviously from the side of the firm, this is people quitting jobs is a loss, no? It's kind of a threat, no? And for sure you are there to fill the void. But my question is, because the event was about attraction and retention of talent, are you making something to help firms to retain people, or just your service finishes once I mean, you can cure the disease, but are you doing or are you supposed to do something to prevent it? That's my question.
This is your answer.
Okay.
So what are we trying to do to prevent it? We try to put the right people in the right place in the bus. So if you have the right management in the right company, because maybe you are very well prepared for the company A and horribly prepared for the company B, because as he said, for instance, in the company B you need to travel a lot and you actually like playing basketball every afternoon, and then it doesn't fit you. So what we do is we try to put the right people in the right place, and maybe going a bit further, we don't offer kind of assessment-ish only for the management team or only for the directors of the company. That there we do some assessment and some kind of like maybe we try to go together with them throughout a 1-year process and trying to assess them on the way they manage the company overall. But it's a bit different maybe than what you were asking.
Then it's kind of like you are trying to minimize the risks ex ante, no?
Yes.
Trying to like optimize the match, and that's where your retention efforts.
This is where we arrive.
What you reach, no?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But because I mean, again, I am convinced that the people that will make you stay in a project, obviously the project needs to be attractive, right? And then you need to make sure that you have, in simple words, you need to make your project sexy, right, for your employees. But what will make you stay there rather than going to the other company that, for instance, we can offer to you, is that your manager provides you with good advisement. He or she is strong when she or he needs to be strong. He gives you good tips. He is a good person with you. He communicates well about the projects you are as a company achieving. How you as an employee are making a difference for your company, for your customers, for the society overall, right? And if you've got a good management in general, right, from lower levels to higher levels, which are able to do all these kind of things, I am sure that you can mitigate rotation.
And have you faced the situation where a candidate person of yours in a client firm wants to quit their job? Because then there is kind of a conflict of interest, right? Like someone that you have put there is like, hey, I wanna live here because I'm not comfortable anymore, but the firm is still your client, right?
Yes.
Have you faced this, or how do you manage this kind of tricky situations?
The person has the power. If the person wants to leave, they leave, and plus, we have two clients, the company and the candidate. So if the candidate asks again for a job with us, even if he's in our client, we try to help him. And then we speak with the client with transparency, saying this guy has left because of that. And so our recommendation is that for the next workers we send to your company, we get better on this and this and this.
Yeah, we are simply the enabler. We are not the roots of the problem, or we are not the roots of the change. Right? There is a small kind of like thing on top of that. So normally when we recruit someone for a company, if for instance this person doesn't fit in the first 1 month, 2 months, then we replace this person for free in a way, right? So, but it's only in this case. So for instance, if you go to work, I don't know, like in Dow Chemical, like right in front of us, right, and you work there for 4 years, and then after that you call us and you say, you know what, guys, I don't see myself working there for a lot more time because maybe I don't like my boss, or because I don't like the project, or because whatever. Then we simply try to offer you different opportunities we have on the table. That's it, no problem.
Or a good thing is that thanks to the offices we have, some people here in Tarragona, maybe they marry a woman in Girona and they call us and say, hey Marlex, now that you got to know me, do you have a job for me in Girona? Because I'm moving there, or I'm moving to Barcelona, or I'm moving to Madrid. So this also gives opportunity to people that has believed in Marlex as an enable to provide job opportunities.
Have you handled the situation of what you do with a company that hired you for, and you see that this company has a very bad policy, very bad employment policy.
Okay.
They pay out of market with slow pays and they have a lot of rotation or have a lot of problems, and this kind of problem. You reject this company and they don't change the culture?
We have rejected companies, yes. But we studied very well. It would have to be a very special case. So there are companies that have a lot of rotation because their management style that doesn't know how to do it better. What we try to do here is to help them. But if we know that a company doesn't treat well the employees, but really doesn't treat well the employees, we don't work for them. So we've rejected some clients and some companies.
And then maybe to add to that, we try to assess the company as well, right? Maybe you are not paying the right salary for the right skills you are asking for, and that we can provide to a company. So I mean, we work with more than 2,000 customers all over Catalonia, right? So then we can tell them, guys, I think that for this kind of profile you should pay this kind of a salary, or I think you should treat these kind of employees in this way or this. So we also try to assess our customers. That's also our value proposition, right? We don't like to go in front of a customer and say, okay, what do you want? Okay, thank you, I will try to find it. No, we try to ask and why and how and all these things is what makes us a value-added service, right? Because that's what we want to do for customers. We don't want to simply offer a simple like CV. No, we want to add value to this process, right? Trying to go the deeper, the better. I don't know whether there are more questions.
In terms of technology, do you apply a kind of a list of competences? So how you assess jobs and candidates? Do you have a specific?
We have specific tests for different kind of profiles.
Have you developed them, or?
Some of them, yes. Some of them we.
Because that will be your value added, actually.
Yeah.
The technology to apply to select people.
Yeah. For instance, in the area we've developed more technology for ourselves is in the business line of executives. We have some assessments that try to assess the attitude of the person with several questions. When we say attitude, is to say, okay, this executive is more oriented to results or is more oriented to people. This executive is more oriented to innovation or is more oriented to analytics and process. And we've developed this with our know-how. we also try to assess the strategic thinking of an executive through a business case. And it's our business case, and we do it because it gives us several information. So yes, this is part of our know-how and value proposition. But on the other side, there are some tests which are very good in the market and gives us information, partial information, and we use them in other business lines. So we do a mix of things that are in the market which are good things, and tests that we have produced ourselves.
And when you assess the job position, what is your average strategy? What do you do usually?
With whom? With the client or with the
client? To assess the job position. So to get to know what you said before, what they're looking for.
So we try to get to understand the hard skills and the soft skills basically, or principally, and then what context will the employee find, right? Will there be a big management that like helps him out on the process, or is that more of like on their own? Or so we try to understand the whole scope of the job position, and then we try to assess whether this is out there in the market available, or what kind of like salary you should pay to match these requirements. So a bit to understand the whole picture.
Yeah, and do you map that into some sort of list of types and levels of competences?
Of competence? What do you mean?
Skills, competences, whatever you want.
In the
So you work with a specific curiosity, yeah? It's just
Well, maybe we should let them, go on, because
we should start finishing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have something else that you want to say before.
Just wanted to introduce you to what we call Marlex Future Leaders. So this is more about us rather than you, but maybe it can impact you somehow, right? So in our company, as Àlex said at the beginning, we believe on young talent. And the proof that we do so is that here in the middle of this audience, you've got our leader of Tarragona, which is less than 25 years, or so, a bit more maybe. Here you have two person of the management team who is less than 30 years, and we believe that young talent can make a difference in the society. So to promote that, we've started a program since last year, which is called Marlex Future Leaders, very focused on people who is oriented to sales roles and way of working, right? So we just wanted to make sure that if any of you is interested on that, it's a very dedicated program for young people who tries to make their growth faster, right? So it's a bit of a booster in your career. So we'll send you our contact, and then if any of you is interested on knowing more, or might be interested on working with Marlex, so within our company, then we'll be more than happy to explain you a bit and some more details about the program and when will it start, etc., so that you can also get into the recruitment process and get to go through all the interviews, etc. Don't know whether you want to add something more?
No, just say thank you to everyone for your questions, for listening. It's been a pleasure. I hope it has served, at least for some part, our messages, and happy to keep discussing, whoever wants to keep discussing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.